Right. Hello and welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. I'm delighted to be joined by Republic of Ireland Under 21 International and Millwall and Brighton player Jayson Molumby. Jayson, how are you keeping?
Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, yourself?
I'm good, thanks. Bit of a hectic day, but delighted to be getting in and chatting with yourself. How have you been coping? I see the hair's grown a bit of length there, and you've been doing a lot of running down by the beach. So how have you been keeping?
Yeah, I've been keeping all right. Yeah, it's just after growing back to be fair, my hair I got a little buzz thing all over, so happy it's after growing back before this, but been all right. Yeah, just trying to stay fit and doing a bit here and there. You know, we have a program at Millwall at the moment which we're following, so if and when the season starts back up, we're good to go.
Yeah, well, talk to me about that. The 5K. I mean, I looked at your time and I was like, all right, well, I might get like 20, 25. I was looking at it, and you got like I think 16 or 17 minutes.
Yeah, it was 17 something, I think. Yeah, it was low 17s, but yeah, just trying to work on my fitness and use this time to get fitter. And that's, yeah, my forte, running around, I suppose.
Well, fair play to you. It was a very impressive time. It's something to be admired anyway. But we said we'd get you on and talk about your career. We've had I don't know how many of your teammates and that on. So
Yeah,
said we'd get you on. What's that?
there's been a few of them on already. Yeah, I've seen that. A few of the boys.
Yeah. All top men, by the way. But we all got them on to talk about their careers and stuff like that. So we said we'd get you on. It took a little bit of, what would I say, persuasion. But we got you on in the end. And yeah, I suppose talk me through your earliest memories growing up in Cappoquin and your earliest memories of football.
Yeah, so basically I grew up in a little village in Cappoquin, County Waterford, and yeah, since day one, all I knew was football really, and it's kind of a big GAA stronghold where I'm from in Waterford, you know, and there wasn't much opportunity for football, I suppose, growing up. But yeah, since I could remember, all I wanted to do was kick a ball around, and I played with my local team for since I was 5, 6 years of age, and I used to just love kicking the ball, and every day after school I'd do anything, you know, to finish my homework or just sack it off and go out on the street and kick a ball around.
And was there a particular moment that kind of stood out that got you into football, like on the TV, maybe a World Cup or going to a match actually?
Um, Not a particular moment, I would say, but my uncles were big Liverpool fans growing up, so I probably remember the Champions League with Liverpool. That's probably my earliest memory, and after that, I think the '06 World Cup. I think so. It's probably them two that I remember as my earliest memories, and my uncles kind of took me from there, and my older brother as well. I kind of looked up to him because he was playing a lot of football. He was a few years older than me, and just wanted to get involved really.
And was that something that you took on then? Would you go out and play football with your brother and mix it with the older lads?
Yeah, I was always pretty much playing with the older boys, and I got kicked around a few times. You know, my brother and I had a few scraps up in the pitch, and yeah, a few of the older boys as well. But it was good. We used to have a good little group going around. You know, there'd be a few of the older boys knocking the door when 8, 9 years of age, and we go up to the pitch and have a little mini World Cup or whatever. So it was good.
Do you think that's missing in society these days? I do. When I look over to the field, I grew up similar to you. Always a ball, always on the field. And you just don't
Yeah,
really see it anymore. I find it frustrating.
yeah, I can see where you come from there. Even I have a little brother at home now, and he's getting to that age where he's 7 or 8, and all he wants to do is play video games, and he's kind of, I think that's the modern day kid now, and they're not too focused on being outside and, what I mean, kicking the ball around. So it probably is, yeah, after losing it a little bit.
Well, you'll have to have a word with him. But who was your footballing hero when you were growing up? Who did you idolise?
I suppose Steven Gerrard. Obviously, I was a big Liverpool fan, like, so growing up, it was probably Steven Gerrard for me, who just absolutely loves, and I think as an Irish players then go, I think Roy Keane probably. Not even so. I watched many games of Roy Keane, or seen him a lot play, but just hearing stories from uncles and everything, and you hear stories about Roy Keane growing up, so he was probably the main one, yeah.
Well, you still hear stories about Roy Keane to this day, like as in as a footballer. Like so many
Yeah.
of his ex teammates come out and say what an influence he had on the team and stuff like that, and so many players looked up to him. But it's similar in a way, I suppose. Paul McGrath, people would
Yeah,
talk about him in a similar type of way.
yeah, definitely Paul McGrath as well. My uncle's definitely his their favourite player is Paul McGrath. They used to tell stories about obviously World Cups and Italia '90, I think it was, with Baggio and different things. So yeah, everyone in my family loved Paul McGrath. So I think he was the main one for them and stuff.
Yeah, well, talk me through your schoolboy, your development as a schoolboy, and kind of the clubs you were at as you made your way up to signing your first pro contract.
Yeah, so basically just played with my local town railway for till I was 16, I think, and I had a 1 year down in Villa with in the city with the best club in Waterford, basically. So that was down the city, about a 45-minute drive for me, and it was a lot for me. My mother at the time to go up and down the road with me and my brother, but she did it, and it was always railway though. We were playing in like Division 3, 4 down in the Waterford League. So I think yeah, the standard wasn't great, and even when I was under 11, I think I was playing against Villa C team and stuff. So I was playing against like 9, 8-year-olds, that were being chucked in, and yeah, just when I got to the age then where I thought, I could get something out of it, I suppose I went down to the city and played with Villa for a year, and yeah, it was good.
You would have been at Villa. Lee O'Connor grew up there as well. Came through the ranks there too, didn't he?
Yeah, I played with Lee. Yeah, played with Lee for a year down in Villa and played with Waterford and stuff. So obviously Lee's a year younger than me, but I'd be quite close with Lee, and we're good pals from come from the same area. And yeah, it's nice to see from Waterford, especially because it's not really such a huge stronghold. I wouldn't say for producing Irish players.
Yeah, well, the main one that they did was John O'Shea. He wasn't a bad one. Was he someone you looked up to as well?
Oh, of course, yeah. I remember there used to be a tournament down Ferrybank where John O'Shea grew up, and I think it was 7 or 8, and he used to come over in the summer when at the time he was playing with United, and he'd be around hundreds of kids, and he'd be queuing up for hours just to try to get a picture and an autograph of John O'Shea and stuff, and he was brilliant with all of us kids at the time. But yeah, definitely he was 100% looked up to him, and he's been an Irish legend. So
Yeah, well, kind of. Did you find it hard? You know the way you're saying you're kind of come from a fairly rural area, moving into the city. Then was that hard? And you said your mom kind of traveling around. It must have been hard for her bringing you around at the same time. Obviously, it's paid off now, but at the time, what were you kind of thinking at that age?
yeah, obviously it was really tough. My brother was playing football as well and hurling with the county and stuff for Waterford, and yeah, we relied a lot on my mother, I think, and she used to have to bring us into the city good 4 or 5 times a week minimum, and she'd come home from work at 4 o'clock, get the dinner down for train maybe at 6 o'clock and or 5:30 or whatever, so I'd be in and out the door straight away for her, and yeah, it was tough for her, and I think she just did it for us because we loved doing it, and it was all that we wanted to do was play for our county, so underage county level and stuff for the Kennedy Cup and this, that, and the other. We were down the city training, and she used to drive us everywhere, really. So.
Well, fair play to her. I'm sure she's delighted to see how well you're doing right now. Your time then from Villa. Where did your career go from there? What age were you went to Villa? Because I imagine everything went up from there.
Yeah, I went to Villa under 15s, I think, and it was pretty much recommendation of the Ireland managers, really. I think it was Tom O'Connor at the time was asking me where I was playing and stuff, and I was telling him like, yeah, I'm playing in Division 3 in Waterford, sort of thing, So I wasn't even in top division in Waterford, and he kind of said, look, you need to be playing at a better level every week just to keep improving and stuff. So I moved down to Villa, and yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it for a year, because obviously playing the SFAI competitions and stuff, and I think got to the quarter final or something, which was very good. But think my first trials came with Ireland were under 15s. I got called up for a squad that was to go to Holland, and played a friendly game at home. And from then Blackburn got in touch, and that was my first trial across sea. And yeah, from then on, I suppose I was just absolutely tuned in to football and just wanted it so bad, so I gave it everything.
Was that when you kind of, not to give you a big head or anything like that, but was that when you kind of started getting noticed and you realised you were quite good at football? Not that you didn't obviously know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, you don't really know. Do you know what I mean? You hope and pray that if someone takes a liking to you, and thankfully, Blackburn wanted me on trial, and I think that was when I basically first got noticed and first started to kind of believe that it's the start of it now, that I need to try and get across and hopefully impress the club to get a contract. And really enjoyed it. And then from there, I had a few other clubs came through, and eventually Brighton, where I signed, and yeah, I'm still here now. So really enjoyed it here as well.
See, Richie Towell was on with me yesterday, and he was talking about the setup at Brighton, and he'd been at Celtic and Hibs, which were massive clubs, and then he was like saying to his agent, yeah, well, he was like, I think his agent said, wait till you see the facilities here, like you're gonna have to sign here, really knuckle down, and he was kind of thinking, as I said, I've been at Hibs, I've been at Celtic, but he said once he's seen the training ground, got shown around, he was sold. What was it for you?
100%, probably that as well. When I was going on trial to Brighton first, John Moreland, with the academy manager, he actually came to the Galway Cup, which I was playing with Ireland in the 16s, and that's when I first got my trials to Brighton. And when he was talking about it, saying, "Oh, the training ground, this, that, and the other," I was kind of thinking, I'd been to Birmingham, West Brom, Villa, a few places, and I thought couldn't be much better than these places. But it absolutely blew me out of the water how good it was, and it was, people there were just brilliant since day one, and everything about it I just loved, and still love it here now. So.
He said the exact same thing. Now, obviously, there's a good Irish influence there, and as you said with John there. But what was it like? Because I know you ended up signing there, and then you were sharing a house, or you were living together anyway with Dan Mandra. What was that like?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Dan's probably my best mate from football, from living with him for I think 3 years over here. So he's one of my best friends in football, and originally moved over, and one of the reasons I moved to Brighton was there was loads of Irish there. Chris Hewton obviously was the manager at the time. John Moran was the academy manager, so good Irish connection. And there was, I think, 7 or 8 underage from the 23s down in Brighton, and we all just clicked straight away. Like all the Irish lads, we kind of have a little gang around the training ground where we'd all look out for each other, and it was brilliant. It was really good, and Dan is just Dan, and he's probably the best technical player I still played with to this day. He's unbelievable, and he's doing really well at Bows now, and he's starting to kick on as well for himself.
It's funny because when I said it to Aaron Connolly, I mentioned Dan's name. Immediately he started smiling like you there, but I can only imagine the mischief that he got up to in that 3 years. But he used to go on, or actually Aaron went on about how Dan used to wind you up so much.
Wind me up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, he said every day he'd be winding you up.
Yeah, Dan used to wind everyone up, but we were good mates, and we had a laugh. Me, him, and us probably had a bit of banter between each other for a while, and we're still good mates, three of us, so it's good. But there's another lad as well came over that we were quite close with. Was Thomas Byrne from Shelbourne. I think he had a year at Shelbourne, and a few other clubs back in League One. But he's a great character as well, and we had a really good Irish connection at the training ground, so it was really enjoyable around the place.
How much do you think that is important, especially with yourself going over to England, probably not knowing anyone until you got there, but having the Irish lads around? I think some players who go over to different clubs, they don't really have anyone there. It could be very, tough and lonely place starting out, especially Diggs and that,
Yeah, look, So, yeah, definitely. I think it was a huge factor. I went to could have went to Birmingham and West Brom were kind of the two other main ones that I really wanted to probably join. But the Irish connections and them two clubs were great as well. But I just didn't feel that connection to have with the staff at Brighton and everyone around the place. They were just absolutely brilliant, and obviously, like I said, the facilities second to none. But the people that are working in the club and in the training ground are brilliant people, and they really want to help you and try to develop you as a player and a person. So.
Yeah, you also told me privately that Shane Duffy has also been a huge influence, and I know how much of an influence he's been on Aaron as well. It must be great having someone who's, I suppose, in an Irish term, he's so well thought of at the club as well.
Yeah, of course. Duff's since he first came in, he just as soon as he heard your Irish voice, we all knew obviously, Shane Duffy's after signing for the club and what a good player he was and stuff. And as soon as he heard an Irish voice, he'd just come up straight away talking to you, and he'd catch you in a headlock or something, and just have a chat. But yeah, he was brilliant. I have actually a story with Duff's where, when I done my knee, I was going out a bit too much, and my head was in the bin really, and this was probably 8 or 9 months into my injury where I just gotten told again that I need another operation sort of thing. And remember Duff's caught me on a night out, or we were in the bar or something, and yeah, he kind of gave me a few words, so he did, just to get me back on track, I think. But since day one, he's just looked out for the Irish boys, I think, and he's a great role model for us, obviously captain his country and stuff, which is the highest you can achieve, really.
And the thing is, he kind of went from, and I said this to him when I had him on, is he went from someone who was 50-50 to get to the Euro squad to probably being our most important player if you look at probably the last couple of months in qualifying.
Yeah, he's been excellent, and especially I think even when he had the armband, seeing that last game against the last game was
Denmark.
Denmark at home, I think it was, and his performance there, even, and you can tell how much it means to him by how he conducts himself on the pitch, and he's wholehearted, even more so for playing for his country, and he's been huge for Ireland the last few years, and as a fan, obviously looking at it, it's been brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I even said to him, he reminds me of like Richard Dunne. He's that type of importance to the team now. But it's great that he's taken it. Like he does that with Aaron as well. He basically said he didn't want you guys to make the same mistakes that he did, and it was great that he came over. And I'm sure you've taken them words on board. But I want to talk to you on a kind of more positive note about your debut and how nice that was, and the build up to the week. Was Chris Hughton telling you you're going to be playing? And did you bring your family over? That type of stuff. So give us the whole kind of insight from your perspective.
Yeah. So I travelled away to Leicester, I think, a few days before, and didn't make the bench for the Premier League game against Leicester. And I think Steve Sidwell and Ram Koyal were injured, two centre mids at the time. And I pretty much knew, I have a good chance of playing the Carabao Cup. It was against Barnet, and I think me and Aaron made our debut the same day, actually, and I was just absolutely buzzing. I couldn't even put it into words, and it went really well for me. Obviously you don't know how you cope until you're put in the first team competitive match, but it went really well for me. And my mum flew over as well by the club. She didn't tell me anything because she knew it would probably distract me a little bit, but she was there after the game, which was really nice as well.
That's lovely. Did you ever foresee being the kid at Villa to playing to Brighton in that short span of time? Was that's what 2-3 years, maybe 2 years, 3 years?
I was just after turning 18 with a few days, I think. So there's a lot going on at that time. I think I just passed my driving test as well, so everything was kind of going at the once for me. And I was just 18, and it was brilliant, and I was over the moon.
Yeah, so kind of, I don't want to go from high to low here too quick, but from that point, obviously, you're breaking through. You're breaking through a lot quicker than a lot of the players, I suppose, in the Irish setup now. So how frustrating was that kind of going from getting in, as you said, life's gone really, really well, and then getting that injury.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how long you were out for. Was it 15 months?
yeah, 15 months I think. Yeah, so yeah, so made my debut, and I remember it was literally a few days after my debut against Barnet. I was training again, and it was the day before 23's game I think, and I was due to play, and literally done my knee. My MCL, I had a little tear in my MCL, which I had a few knee problems up till then on my right knee, and I was out for 2-3 weeks with that, and I think I was worried because obviously the Bournemouth game, which would have been a great game for me against another Premier League team, and the Carabao Cup was coming up, and I knew because I played well, at Barnet that I play, and ended up getting back for that. Literally, kind of pushed back for that, and I played with big strap on my knee. I had played for 4 weeks, and I was chucked straight into that game, and 120 minutes, of that level and that pace was a lot, and yeah, that was a great night for me, and I really enjoyed it. And I think after that, then I was on the bench quite a few times in the Prem and stuff, and I felt could have been getting closer and closer, and obviously then January is coming around the window, and I felt could get a good loan move here, or if the gaffer wants to keep me in, I might get my debut at the end of the season, and ended up doing my knee, and initially I didn't know how bad it was because I got a scan on my knee, and they told me that I'd done a bit of damage at the back because obviously kind of semi-dislocated and comes back in. So, but after I think it was 5 or 6 weeks, my aim was to try and get back for the FA Cup because the FA Cup was coming around January time, I think, and so I didn't make that obviously. And 5 or 6 weeks in, I felt like a loose body going around my knee, so it was like a bone or a fragment floating around my knee, and kept getting caught and jammed in my knee, and I got rescan, and physios. Well, when I was telling the physios, they were looking at me like, I don't know what's wrong with them, like because they couldn't find the fragment, and it was only in a certain position if I put my knee that the fragment would literally pop out, and I'd have to hold it there and call the physio open without moving, and to show them that I'm not talking shit, basically that there's fucking something going around my knee, and so I got a rescan, and obviously it showed up that there was a big kind of fragment that had been taken away from my knee, so I needed like a little bit of keyhole to sort me out for that.
And so you were out 15 months from that knee injury, basically.
So I came back from my knee about 7 months, I would say 7 or 8 months. I came back to train, and it was pre-season, so physios worked hard to get me back, and I did a pre-season, did all the conditioning, did all the tests and stuff, and my knee was fine. And I think it was the third day into training where I literally felt my knee go, and I pulled out of training thinking like, I felt it come out and move. It's a weird movement. It's hard to describe how it feels, but and it's a lot of pain when it happens. But carried on anyway because the physios obviously were thinking I was fine, and they thought I might be a bit in my head, where I wouldn't be 100% committed and trusting it, and literally put my foot on top of a ball going for a tackle, and my knee just semi-dislocated again, and that was it really. So I mean, it was frustrating because my summer I was kind of just wishing away the summer because obviously I was 6-7 months out of football, and I just wanted to get back, and then went to the surgeon, and he obviously said that I need a big op to kind of stabilise my knee.
So at that point, what were you thinking as a young fella? Because you're only 18 at this point. You'd mentioned there, you said your head was in the bin. So it must be so like watching your mates, because obviously you had Aaron and Dan, and they're out playing, and I'm sure they were doing well. So they must have been wrecking your head, not in a bad way, but just frustrated because you couldn't play, not in a jealous type of way. I just mean,
100%. I just felt, gutted. I felt, why me? The kind of blame game where I felt, my career was just starting really because I've made my debut, and I knew I'd probably get a loan move to League One, League Two maybe, and try and kickstart my career. But yeah, I was devastated because And the physios, fair, were devastated as well because they worked really hard with me. And I remember actually coming in after doing my knee, and I knew that it was fucked basically because it was bad. And remember the physio there, and I remember just crying my eyes out to the physio. And remember Richie Towell actually walking past and coming over and giving me a big hug and just saying, it'll be all right and all. But I think, I was just young and gutted and just thought that I wouldn't get back on the pitch really.
But that's like totally natural for a young man to feel like that. But during that time, how did you find bouncing back? You obviously had good people around you. How was it for you mentally? Because it sounds like it was a really horrible time. You're going playing the Carabao Cup, doing really well. As you say, passing your driving tests, and then you got this you had the injury, a setback. Then it was more months out. Then another setback. How were you coping throughout this, like mentally? Did you have people around you? I know you have Aaron and Dan and probably Shane and Richie. But from a family point of view, did your family come over, kind of help you out and stuff like that, or anything like that? Or what way was things happening for you?
Yeah, look, the club and everyone were brilliant with me, and the family, obviously, there wasn't a lot they could do, obviously, because, they're in Ireland and it's hard to get flights and stuff, and, they have to work in different things. But, it was mentally just drained because me and the physio, they gave me targets to kind of hit and could never hit the targets, and I was always, weeks behind, and they were saying, "Oh, we're aiming to get you back this time, this period," and I kept missing it and missing it. And I remember the under-19 Euros with Ireland were in March, I think, and so obviously when I had my keyhole surgery, we were saying, right, March, that's when we're looking at, and then obviously missed March, and then it was, right, we try to get you a few games before the end of the season. Missed that, because obviously it wasn't there. My knee was still wasn't good. And then again, pre-season, they were saying, look, we'll get you back pre-season, 100%, you'll be back and everything will be fine. And then obviously pre-season, it was just setback after setback, and I just kept getting drained, and my hopes were kind of keep getting up for no reason, and just, in the end, just drained me.
But it should make you proud, the fact that you bounced back so well. And look, I don't want to skip too far ahead, but look how well you're doing now, coming from then.
Yeah, look, I think it's I've been back since last February, so this is my first full season really of football, and I'm really proud and really happy with how it's went. So and the knee's been good now, and I'll touch wood to say it like that, but just been working hard with my knee stuff and building strength around it just to make sure, and keep on top of it. But I've been proud to get back, and obviously you can't thank the physios and the people at Brighton that have helped me the most. 23s coaches and the academy and even the gaffer. Chris Hewton at the time were brilliant with me, and good people around me at Brighton. And I think I was lucky, that happened while I was signed at Brighton, because obviously they're just really good people and they looked after me.
Well, I can see you've signed 2 new contracts this season alone, and I think you said to me off air you've signed 5 since you've been there. But I can see why you want to stay there, especially when you're at your probably lowest point. The fact that they still stuck by you.
Yeah, they were brilliant, and I think I'm on my 5th contract now, and it shows that they rate me as a player and as a person, and they kind of value you, I suppose. So there's been a lot of people there that have helped me so much, just to be a better person and a player. And it's a very good club, and it's quite a close club, and I really enjoying my time there.
It seems like a very kind of family type club. That's the impression I get from the outside looking in.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, just all the boys, and every member of staff you kind of you get on well with, and you can have a laugh with, and from the teachers to the dinner ladies and all, we all the 23s boy have a laugh with them and all. And, it was a good place to kind of develop into a player there, and especially with the Irish boys and stuff there as well. So it was really good.
Yeah, well, you touched on the Irish boys there. That was kind of what I was getting to next. Talk to me a little bit about the Toulon tournament, and since Stephen Kenny's kind of come in there, how much have you been enjoying it? Because he's been bringing through players. The results have been really good. and just seemed like you're loving life when you're playing out there. It just seemed to be really free.
Yeah, literally since day one, absolutely buzzing. I remember Stephen actually came to me first 45 minutes back after my 15-month injury, and against Man City away with the 23s, and remember talking to him afterwards, and he was just all filling you with confidence, and he was delighted really with how we were doing. I think myself, Warren O'Hora, Tariq Wilson were playing, and he had a chat with all of us after, and it was a few weeks after that, I think, where they now announced the team, the first under 21 group for a Euro qualifier against Luxembourg at home. And fair, I was just buzzing to be in the squad after being out for so long, and I was thinking, didn't even think I'd start. Fair, going into the team, I thought he might just have me in for the future, because I was literally just back a couple of weeks, from being a long time out. And then obviously when I was in there, he said to me, I think it was 2 days before the game, he goes, how do you feel about captaining the team? And I was just over the moon. I was buzzing. I couldn't believe, after obviously 15 months out, and then straight away he says, want you to captain the boys out for the game. And yeah, since then he's been brilliant, and I think it's shown for results how well we've done with the 21s group. It's been really positive.
I'd say, I don't know, you might be a bit modest here, but since you've taken the captain's arm, I think your game's gone up a level, and you do seem to be the heartbeat of the team there. Now, you may not admit that, but I know, and a lot of other fans have said it from watching you, like you really set the tone in the midfield there, and you cover every blade of grass.
That's how I was probably brought up. Brought up to give it your all, and just run your socks off, and that's pretty much my game anyway. Just giving it everything and leaving it all out on the pitch, like. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm involved in, and got really good players, and I think my job is to give it to them players. Like, you have Aaron left wing, Troy, Adam Ida, some really good players, good attacking players with the 23s, and you give them the ball, and at that level, what they're doing, they can really shine. And we've seen that a number of occasions with our attacking options now with the 21s, and they've been brilliant.
Yeah, defence isn't bad either, or the midfield, to be fair. But just with Stephen, what's he been like? Because Aaron Connolly said, he's already noticed an improvement with yourself through him. But what's he like as a man manager for you, and how would you say he's helped change your game?
Yeah, I think he's demanded probably a lot more from me in what he wants me to do, I think. And he's always trying to challenge me and give me kind of freedom to play as well. He fills you with so much confidence and belief, and you can tell he just really believes in you from the way he goes about, and his man management is really good. And for me personally, he's been great, and he's given me license just to get up and down the pitch and try to score a goal too, and just set the tone, like you said. I think just get about people around the pitch and set the tempo for the rest of the team to kind of follow.
Yeah, well, you must have really enjoyed the under-21 campaign up to date, because there's some great results there. And I remember speaking to you, I think it was after the Italy game, and a lot of the players they weren't happy just settling for a point. They felt like we should have won that game against Italy, which was a great positive sign for kind of the future, the mentality of not being afraid to go out against the so-called superior nation, and no fear, basically.
Definitely, yeah. I think even from the 2 long terms, I think the way the gaffer set us up and how positive he was with us against Brazil. We were going out against Brazil, and they had millions and millions of pounds worth of players, like, and some top players playing in the top leagues around the world. And he set us out just to go for it, and I think we did pretty well. And we done Ireland proud, like, against a team like Brazil. And same goes for the Italy game. They had some top players as well, top upcoming players, and I think that's the gaffer all over. He's a winner really, and he's just obsessed with winning. And I think that's the main goal for him, and I think it's rubbed off well on us that just because we're little Ireland, it doesn't mean we can't beat some big nations and really do something special. So
yeah, well, that kind of brings me to the next thing I was going to say to you. He's obviously now he's became the Ireland manager, which was obviously going to be a natural progression either way. But how much are you looking forward to seeing him as the Ireland manager? And I'm sure that'll boost your chances of possibly getting into the squad, because lots of fans have been hoping that you'll get in there. I'm sure that's your aim, to eventually get into that team and stay there.
Yeah, obviously you need to aim high, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to, play for my country, and I didn't want to play sooner rather than later. And it's definitely the aim for me the next year. Hopefully football gets back quick, and we know as well. I need to play at club level and need to be playing at a good level to get into the Ireland team. So it's no good me having a good season this year, and the gaffer going up now. I need to kind of make sure I continue to play at a good level, and hopefully, look, I think it's a breath of fresh air sort of thing for the gaffer to be taken over, and I think it's going to be exciting to see what happens now and the different style of football that's going to be on show.
And do you think the fact that so many of you have came up together now, that you pretty much know each other's game now? Obviously, as you mentioned there, everyone has to be doing well at club level, which I think Stephen pointed out a few times in interviews and stuff, that so many of the players weren't playing first team football before the Turlough tournament. After that, so many of them are playing in the first team now at the clubs.
Yeah, I think it's that recognition for everyone. People recognise that we're doing well now, and we've got a good manager who really gave us the license and freedom to express ourselves and play football how we wanted to play, really. And literally everyone was just given the absolute freedom to just do what you please on the pitch, and that was really refreshing since the first day. But yeah, since this season, I think it's been a breakthrough for a lot of the 21s. You have obviously Troy, Aaron, Adam Oida, the attacking options, Obafemi, the boys playing the Premier League, and then you have lads playing in League One, Championship week in, week out. So it's really positive for Irish football coming up, and hopefully we all keep it up and continue to play.
I think the best thing about it is that there's so many coming through. And Lee O'Connor said, the strength and depth is brilliant, but when you kind of add that to what's already in the squad as well, it is exciting, in my opinion, as a fan, for what could possibly be coming in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think definitely, and I think people get carried away with the attacking boys, and there's a lot of focus on them and a lot of pressure, but I don't know, you see our defence with the 21s as well has been rock solid, and our goalkeeper to the back four have been brilliant, and you have Darren and Connor who've played in Championship now and done really well when they have played, and it's positive to see. And Lee has gone on to play first team football as well, so it's really, really good, and it's only positive things, positive signs that all areas look like people are doing well.
Yeah, we're all excited for the future anyway. But this season, you obviously came on loan to Millwall for the season. You signed your contract with Brighton, and then you were straight off to Millwall to get first team football. I imagine that was the goal. And what was it like from day one getting into the dressing room from your own perspective?
Yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking, not going to lie. Set me goals quite high. I could have probably went to Scottish Prem or League One, and maybe have a better chance of playing more games, but I wanted to try and challenge myself and play the highest level I could. So went to the Championship for first loan. It was a big move for me, and the boys there is one of a kind. I couldn't even tell you how good the dressing room is, and if I told you, you wouldn't believe me how close it is. And the boys are brilliant, and especially the Irish boys as well. You have Piercy, Shane Ferguson's Northern Irish, and then you have Aidan O'Brien and Sean Williams, who have been excellent with me as well. So it's just a really good club and a great group.
Yeah, well, I know you're very, very close with Sean Williams, and he can't speak, anything but good things about you. Really seems to like you. He said you'd probably be friends forever. But what was it like when you came in and, the dressing room there? Did he come and put an arm around you? Because I read somewhere that you were kind of a bit daunted when you went into the dressing room. Because you think about Millwall, it's a big club, and to go in there, I imagine it would have been nerve-wracking, as you said.
Yeah, I think it was probably more nerve-wracking just with the perception you have in Millwall as a football club. You think they're all going to be sort of a bit mad in there, but they're not. They're just really, great lads and hard-working lads, and as a club, I think it's unbelievable club. You know, there's some really, really good people working there, and some excellent people working in and around the football club. And as far as Willow goes, I think Willow's been brilliant with me. You know, since I first came in, he just did put his arm around me and make sure I was all right. And you know, first thing was exchange numbers and just said, if you need anything, just let me know. But since then he's been good with me on the pitch as well. You know, you'd have days where, you know, if you're off it slightly, he'll pick you back up and make sure, you know, he give you a kick up the arse sort of thing. And he just look at you and I don't know, he just makes me laugh the way he is on the pitch, and he just look at you and dead seriously just asking you if you're all right, like, is everything all right at home and stuff. He'd use that phrase and just to make sure I have a bit of banter with me, but he'd be serious at the same time, just trying to get the best out of me. But he's helped me a lot, and you know, even there's stuff from his game that I really enjoy, and how good he is on the ball, and for his age, you know, he's on the ball, he's unbelievable, and he's probably one of the hardest people to get the ball off and train, because he has a gift for kind of hiding the football, and he's technically very good.
I thought that now when I watched him playing against Poland, I thought, you know, I said, how has this fella not been getting into the squad more? Like, I really didn't get it. I thought he played really, really well. I said that to him, but he wouldn't really, he wouldn't take it as a compliment. I don't think he's good at taking compliments.
Nah, he's probably a bit too modest for it, but from what I've seen anyway, you know, he's got a bit of everything. You know, he's good on the ball. You know, he's got good feet and can score. You know, he's proven that for Millwall this season as well as every other season really with Millwall. He's scored a lot of goals for Millwall from midfield, which is very good. But he's a really good player. Yeah, and I have looked up to him since I went in, and probably trying to take a few things from his game to improve on as well.
Yeah, well, he seems like a great lad to be learning off, to be fair. So you just, with this season, we know everything's going on with the virus and stuff like that, so I don't want to go into that, but up until that point, you were probably playing your best football of your career, and the stuff at international level, under 21s, was going really well. Your football at Millwall was really good. And do you really notice, I suppose, how much the fans have taken to you, both at Ireland and Millwall? Because, you know, there's lots and lots of noise coming that you should have been picked in the last squad. Now, it obviously never came out what the squad was, but the fact that you're making a lot of waves, you must be happy with, I suppose, when the injury happened and everything like that, you must have been thinking, when am I going to get my break? And now, you know, people really, really like you. And maybe that's down to the way you play and you leave everything on the field, and people love those types of players. But you're definitely a fan's favourite of both an Irish side of things and Millwall.
I think some probably similarities between Ireland and Millwall. You know, I think, you know, the fans are very passionate and they're hardworking, class people. You know, and all they want to see is you give them 100% on the pitch. And I think that's just the type of player I am. You know, and at Millwall I've probably shown that. You know, just run my socks off and get around. You know, put tackles in, and it's been absolutely buzzing. And you know, you want to do well, and as long as your manager and your teammates are happy with you, that's all that matters really. But it's obviously a bonus if the fans are, you know, happy with what they're seeing from you as well, because that's a big thing, you know. And I suppose you'd rather be that way than the other way, but at the end of the day, it's only a bonus, you know. Just hoping the gaffer and my teammates are happy with what I'm doing. So
yeah, it sounds like your mentality from a young lad to a man has really changed this year. Not that I knew you when you were a young lad, but you just seem to me more kind of goal orientated, and you're fixated on basically not feeling like you've made it. That's basically the way I'm trying to put it to you.
Not at all. No, I've only at the start of my career, you know. I think we played 30-something games, you know, in my career, and it's just the start really. And it'd be foolish to think that, you know, you've made it as a footballer because you play a certain amount of games. And it's just been my first season, but yeah, look, I want to aim high and hopefully getting the Ireland team sooner rather than later, and want to have a good career. And and everything that comes along with it then is a bonus. But just want to play football and play as many games as I can. That's definitely there.
Okay, well, that kind of just brings me to my last point. Is you know, we don't know what's going to happen with the virus and everything like that. But if next season is to start fresh, you know, pre-season and everything like that, what is the goals for next season?
Uh, Obviously,
And just before you touch on it, and the reason I say that is because the Euros has been pushed back. Stephen's now in the kind of hot
yeah,
seat as well, so there is more of a chance and more, I suppose. Uh, how am I going to put this? The carrot at the end of the stick. That's what I'm trying to say.
I haven't got a clue what you're saying there.
So no, what I'm saying is the carrot at the end of the stick. You know,
Oh,
the
yeah.
greyhounds.
All right, yeah, yeah. I
So
don't
the
know.
Euros is the carrot at the end of the stick, if you get me.
Yeah, fair. I've always been, well, I haven't always been, but I've tried focusing my mind in what's going on now, present. Do you know what I mean? Because I think if you drift too far into the future, you know, you just get confused yourself and you don't really focus on what's happening now. So all I've been focusing on is hopefully finishing this season, you know, and hopefully get promoted with Millwall because that's the aim, you know, 2 points off the playoffs and we've been on a good run. And I think it was obviously unfortunate time when it did happen. Obviously, this virus and stuff, where we're on a good run. We're just putting pressure on the top six really, and then further from that, yeah, obviously the Euros would be a dream for any young Irish player. You know, just to experience the Euro Championships at 21 would be unbelievable and probably do me well for the rest of my career. But yeah, hopefully next year play in the Premiership and hopefully Brighton, you know, want me to play in the Prem for them. So that's the goal then.
Yeah, we're all going well. You know, the league resumes somehow, and maybe you can get Millwall up to the Premier League. That'll be a lovely little send off, and then you can play them maybe next season with Brighton, and both sets of fans love you.
Yeah, look, I'm just hoping that Brighton and Millwall are both in the Premier League next year. That'd be the dream, and be absolutely buzzing, yeah, because you know, I love the two clubs already, and you know, Millwall have given me my first chance at league football. So yeah, it'd be brilliant to see them both in the Prem next season.
But right, Jay. Well, I just want to say a huge thanks for taking the time out to have a chat with us. I know even through these circumstances, you're still a busy man, so much appreciated, and it's been great. It's been really worth the wait. So thank you.
Yeah, cheers, Paul. Cheers for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. Anyone who's listening to this on the podcast or watching on YouTube, make sure to give the video a like. Make sure to follow Jay on Twitter at J_Molumby15. Is that it?
Yeah, you got it there, yeah.
Boom. Because I have to put it in the overlay. But make sure to go and follow him on Twitter and keep up to date with Jay. Huge thanks again, Jay. Top man. And look forward to seeing you playing football soon.
Cheers, Paul. Top man. Appreciate it.